The Dark Bridge. Megan had always been haunted by her brother's stories of the Dark Bridge, a foreboding structure that loomed over the murky waters of Sleepy Hollow's Black Creek. As children, they had dared each other to cross the bridge on moonless nights, their hearts pounding with fear as they stepped onto the cold, damp planks. Years later, Megan had left Sleepy Hollow behind, forging a career as a journalist in the bustling city. But when news reached her that her brother had become the latest victim in a series of mysterious and gruesome deaths surrounding the Dark Bridge, she couldn't help but be drawn back to her haunt. As Megan delved into the bridge's history, she uncovered a chilling tale that dated back to the town's founding. The Dark Bridge had been constructed by the town's founders as a symbol of unity, but it bore the weight of a terrible crime. The bridge was built on land stolen from a reclusive woman who had been accused of witchcraft, her life cruelly taken and her land claimed by the town's patriarch. It was said that the spirit of the wronged woman had cursed the bridge, returning every year on the anniversary of her death to claim the life of someone connected to the town's founding families. Megan's own ancestors had been among those responsible for the woman's fate, and she realized that her brother's death was just the latest in a long line of tragedies. Determined to put an end to the haunting, Megan sought the help of a local historian and a medium who claimed to be able to communicate with the dead. Together, they scoured ancient texts and conducted a series of seances in an attempt to reach the vengeful spirit and make amends for the past. As the anniversary of the spirit's death approached, Megan and her newfound allies gathered at the Dark Bridge, their hearts heavy with the weight of generations of guilt. In a ritual of forgiveness and atonement, they offered a heartfelt apology to the spirit, vowing to honor her memory and ensure that the injustices of the past would never be repeated. As the clock struck midnight, the air on the bridge seemed to shimmer, and the spirit appeared before them, her once vengeful gaze now softened by a hint of gratitude. With a final sorrowful glance, he vanished, the darkness that had shrouded the bridge for so long dissipating with her. The curse of the Dark Bridge had been lifted, and Sleepy Hollow breathed a collective sigh of relief. Megan knew that her brother's death would never be forgotten, but she took solace in the knowledge that his sacrifice had brought an end to the town's long-held suffering. As she left Sleepy Hollow once more, Megan couldn't help but look back at the bridge that had defined so much of her life. The shadows that had once haunted her now seemed a distant memory, a testament to the power of forgiveness and the importance of confronting the sins of the past. The Devil's Playground. The town of Sleepy Hollow had always been a magnet for ghost hunters and paranormal enthusiasts. Its history was steeped in darkness, and legends of vengeful spirits and cursed lands were whispered in hushed tones among the townsfolk. A group of intrepid paranormal investigators, led by the charismatic and fearless Mark Sinclair, arrived in Sleepy Hollow with the intent to debunk the supernatural stories that had haunted the town for centuries. Armed with the latest technology and a healthy dose of skepticism, they set out to prove that science and reason would always triumph over superstition. In the course of their investigations, they stumbled upon a hidden chamber beneath the town's oldest church. Nestled in the heart of Sleepy Hollow, within the chamber they discovered an ancient, crumbling tome that spoke of a portal to hell, sealed by a powerful and mysterious ritual. Believing it to be nothing more than a relic of a bygone era, they unwittingly broke the seal, unleashing demonic forces that had lain dormant for centuries. As the town became overrun with malevolent spirits and horrifying creatures that defied description, the investigators quickly realized the gravity of their mistake. Desperate to undo the damage they had caused, they sought the help of Father O'Malley, a local priest who was well versed in the town's dark history. Together they delved into the secrets of the ancient tome, searching for a way to reseal the portal and banish the demons back to the depths of hell. As they ventured deeper into the shadows, they were forced to confront their own darkest fears, both within themselves and in the face of the nightmarish creatures that stalked them at every turn. In a final desperate act, Mark and his team joined forces with Father O'Malley in a harrowing ritual to close the gateway, knowing that it would require immense courage and a terrible sacrifice. As the ritual reached its climax, the veil between worlds began to close, and the demonic hordes were forced back into the abyss from whence they came. But the price was high. Mark Sinclair, the fearless leader of the investigators, was taken by the demons as their final prize, his soul forever lost to the depths of hell. The remaining members of the group, along with Father O'Malley, were left to bear the weight of their actions and the knowledge that their friend had been claimed by the darkness. In the aftermath, The people of Sleepy Hollow attempted to rebuild their lives and mend the scars left by the demonic invasion. The investigators, changed by their experiences, pledged to continue their work, determined to prevent others from making the same mistakes they had made. And so, the story of the Devil's Playground became another chilling legend among the many that shrouded Sleepy Hollow in darkness. The portal was sealed, but the horrors that had been unleashed upon the town left an indelible mark, a haunting reminder of the fragile boundary between this world and the realms of the damned. The Hollow's secret. In the small town of Sleepy Hollow, nestled between the dark embrace of ancient trees and the whispering winds, an unsettling legend persisted, stirring fear in the hearts of its residents. It was said that every 50 years a vengeful spirit would return to claim an innocent life. Jack, a daring and curious 17-year-old, had grown up hearing the chilling tales from his grandfather. The stories never seemed to lose their grip on his imagination. As summer approached, Jack convinced his friends Emma, Michael, and Lily to help him uncover the truth behind Sleepy Hollow's mysterious past. With a healthy mix of excitement and trepidation, they delved into the town's archives, searching for clues that would unravel the enigma of the vengeful spirit. As the weeks went by, they pieced together the tragic tale of a young woman named Abigail, accused of witchcraft and burned at the stake in the town's early days. The night before her execution, she swore revenge on the townsfolk and their descendants, promising to return every 50 years to claim her life. Their research revealed that the next fateful night was only a week away, and the teenagers realized they were on the cusp of something dangerous. They had unwittingly caught the attention of the restless spirit, and now she haunted their dreams with whispers of their impending doom. Determined to break the curse and save their town, the group ventured into the heart of the woods where Abigail's tormented spirit was said to dwell. As they neared the site of her execution, the temperature dropped, and the air grew thick with the scent of burning wood and flesh. In the clearing, they discovered the charred remains of a stake, still standing as a grim reminder of Sleepy Hollow's dark past. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Abigail's spirit appeared before them, her ethereal form twisted by rage and despair. The teenagers, terrified but resolute, faced the spirit and pleaded for her to end her vengeful cycle. Jack, taking the lead, presented evidence of the true culprit behind the witch trials, a corrupt clergyman who had manipulated the town for his own gain. With the truth finally revealed, Abigail's spirit began to fade. But before she vanished entirely, she whispered a final warning: beware the darkness that still lingers in Sleepy Hollow, for it may yet consume you. As the group walked back to the safety of their homes, the weight of the witch's warnings settled over them. They had saved their town from one horror, but the secrets of Sleepy Hollow remained vast and ever-growing, leaving them to wonder what other malevolent forces might be lurking in the shadows. For now, hunting was over, and the curse lifted. But as the wind whispered through the trees, the Hollow's secret remained, a haunting reminder that darkness was never truly vanquished, only waiting for the right moment to rise once again. The Sleepy Hollow Reaper. The town of Sleepy Hollow was no stranger to dark legends and ghostly tales, but none had ever struck as much fear into the hearts of its residents as the recent string of brutal murders that plagued the community. The Reaper, the mysterious killer, had left a trail of mutilated bodies in its wake, each victim bearing a horrifying mark that seemed to confirm the whispers of a vengeful spirit returned from the grave. Emily, a local historian with a passion for uncovering the truth behind her town's chilling past, found herself drawn into the mystery. She was determined to solve the riddle of the Reaper and put an end to the bloodshed that had gripped Sleepy Hollow in terror. As she delved into the town's archives, she began to unravel a tangled web of secrets and betrayals that stretched back generations. As the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place, Emily discovered a horrifying connection between the Reaper and her own family. Her ancestors had been part of a brutal mob that had hunted down and executed a man accused of witchcraft. His dying words a curse that promised to return and exact vengeance upon the descendants of his tormentors. Shaken by the revelation, Emily found herself questioning everything she had ever known about her family and her town. Was she fated to become the Reaper's final victim? Or could she find a way to break the cycle of violence and put an end to the haunting that had cast a shadow over Sleepy Hollow for centuries? As the body count continued to rise, Emily grew increasingly desperate to solve the mystery and save her town from the Reaper's wrath. With the help of a reclusive medium and a skeptical detective, she embarked on a perilous journey into the heart of the town's dark history, seeking answers in the dusty pages of ancient tomes and the chilling whispers of the dead. As they drew closer to the truth, the trio found themselves targeted by the Reaper, their lives hanging in the balance as they fought to uncover the key to banishing the vengeful spirit once and for all. In a climactic confrontation, Emily faced the horrifying legacy of her ancestors and the dark secrets that had shaped the course of her life. With time running out and the Reaper closing in, Emily and her allies raced to complete a ritual that would sever connection between the spirit and the town, banishing the specter of the Reaper and freeing Sleepy Hollow from its grip of terror. As the ritual reached its crescendo, Emily felt the burden of her family's sins lifting, and the Reaper's presence began to fade. In the wake of the Reaper's defeat, the town of Sleepy Hollow slowly began to heal from the wounds inflicted by the vengeful spirit. Emily, forever changed by her brush with the darkness that had haunted her family for generations, vowed to ensure that the lessons of the past were not forgotten and that the cycle of violence would never be repeated. Though the Reaper had been banished, the legacy of the curse lingered on, a chilling reminder that the sins of the past could never truly be erased. For Emily and the people of Sleepy Hollow, the shadow of the Reaper would always be a haunting presence, a dark specter that loomed over the town and whispered of the terrible price of vengeance. The whispering trees. In the town of Sleepy Hollow, there were few places more feared than the ancient forest that lay just beyond its borders. The trees seemed to whisper with the voices of the dead, and ghostly apparitions were rumored to roam its depths. It was said that anyone who ventured too far into the woods would never return, their souls forever trapped within the forest's sinister embrace. One summer, a group of friends, Alex, Sarah, Chris, and Jess, set out on a camping trip, determined to debunk the legends that had haunted their town for generations. Armed with little more than skepticism and a sense of adventure, they pitched their tents at the edge of the forest and prepared for a night of ghost stories and camaraderie. As darkness fell, the eerie whispers began, carried on the wind like the sighs of the damned. Undaunted, the friends ventured deeper into the woods, following the ghostly voices as they grew more insistent, more desperate. Drawn further into the heart of the forest, they discovered an abandoned village, its crumbling buildings choked by vines and time. The whispers grew louder, and the friends began to realize that the voices belonged to the tormented souls of those who had perished in the woods. As they delved deeper into the village's dark history, they learned of a terrible curse that had befallen its inhabitants. The villagers had turned against one another in a fit of madness and paranoia, their souls bound to the land as punishment for their heinous crimes. Desperate for release from as the last of their group, Jess struggled to escape the nightmare that had claimed her friends. She stumbled upon the chilling secret that bound the spirits to the land, an ancient and malevolent force that fed on their anguish and despair. In a final desperate act, Jess confronted the entity, her heart filled with equal parts terror and determination. With a surge of courage, Jess managed to sever connection between the spirits and the malevolent force, freeing the souls from their torment and banishing the entity back into the void from which it came. As the spirits found their rest, the whispers ceased and the darkness that had gripped the forest for so long began to dissipate. Exhausted and grief-stricken, Jess made her way back to Sleepy Hollow, determined to honor her friends' memories by sharing the truth about the forest's dark past. And though the spirits had found their peace, the whispering trees remained a haunting reminder that some secrets were never truly laid to rest.